AI meets customer experience. How can AI help you get happy and loyal customers? Welcome on stage, Andreas Markewärn. Hello, Andreas.
Hello, thank you.
Very nice to have you on and in the studio.
Yes, nice to be back again.
Yeah, you've been here before.
Yes.
Let's check the result from the poll. Coming up soon. Here's the poll. So let's see. Do you use artificial intelligence in your marketing automation project? No, and we don't plan to. Yes. Your comments on the ones there?
Yeah, I know that AI is a hard cookie to crack. It's something we need to start using. So what I understand, I hope this presentation today will impact them and plan to include AI in their plans.
That's good, because I also think that it's pretty complicated to really understand what this is, and some vendors say, but don't bother, it's just a black box. And I mean, it's like, I don't really like that comment.
Yeah, I can see it. It's a new domain we need to include in the marketing tech stack.
Yeah, good. Welcome.
Thank you. All right, let's see if we can get the presentation up and running. So yeah, nice to be here and to see so many people attending from so many businesses. And I would say that for your marketers out there, the work is more important than ever. And I would say that AI is a really important element in your tech stack. And I will talk a little bit more about what is happening in the AI field, and hope I will influence you to include this for the next year. So let's start with myself. I'm a digital strategist, I'm a coach and advisor, and half my time I'm talking with management and leaders about how to use AI and marketing automation in the best of ways. But also I'm working in the pilot phasing, trying to identify new ways of working using AI in the business. My background is from marketing automation and CRM domain, but mainly as a strategist, I focus on finding new technology opportunities and use them in projects. So yeah. So what has happened the last years? We can see that the digital lifestyle that we see in our customers has changed the expectation, the way they are interacting with you. So let's turn on the video. And this video has some years of history here, but it's more or less what has happened the last 5-10 years. We see that you as a marketer need to be more relevant than ever to touch point with your customers. You need to be personal also. And you have started to get this going really good. You're getting closer to real time now. This is something that you've been working on for many years. But also in this process, you need actually to be value-centered. And last but not least, you need to make all this happen in a very, very simple way. So this is a real demanding quest for marketeers. You need to get this all working. And I believe that this is where you are actually good at the moment. You are scaling your customer journeys. You are working close together with them, understanding and interacting with them. So this is critical to today, actually. It's a hygienic factor. Moving forward in this presentation, what we can see is that this has generated a whole new type of customer. They expect you to actually know them pretty well, to coach them and to predict their next step. And it was interesting to listen to Swedbank, how they are working with the next best step or next best action. But looking at the demands from the consumers, it's actually evolving now. What we see is a whole new way of expectations based on this new digital domain. What we can see is a whole new type of expectations. They expect you to predict their next step, how to make them smarter, to work using data from not only themselves but with others, to motivate them and to help them achieve their goals. So this is the new domain for marketing automation. It's to actually work close with your customers with this type of data. So you can turn on the next video. So today we know that we have a lot of things going on in every business with data. The biggest problem is actually to use the data in a meaningful way, not only for yourself to get insight of your customer, but to give that insight also back to your customers so they can be more informative in what the data means for them. So create actionable insight is the new domain of monetization of data. So I move forward in my presentation. The biggest problem we can see now is actually that it's a lot of data that's coming in. And even if we are getting better in analyzing data, we are still getting more and more data in. So this kind of 1%, I think it's maybe 0.5% actually, but this is a big problem. The volume of data is just increasing. So we need to manage this in new ways. And this is where AI come in. So looking at AI or artificial intelligence, it will actually move into the marketer's toolbox. And what we talk about is not marketing automation, but smart automation or intelligent automation. And that is actually rising the bar even higher now. So this is what you need to plan for or start exploring, because this will actually be the next domain for marketing automation. So this is what I'm going to talk about today. And the domain of AI is growing, and it becomes better for every year or every week. We have robotics, we have the expert systems that actually are better in making decisions than ourselves. We have machine learning, we have the system can actually listen, it can understand, it can speak back, it can see and understand. And all this is an opportunity for us. We can actually have AI as a resource for making those smart automations happen. So if you turn on the next video, this is actually what is happening in this field. We see that a whole new way of working, like Volvo, they're creating a new value system with cars that actually move and drive themselves. We can see that businesses go more on autopilot. We actually don't need to make this manually anymore, how to work with this type of automations. Then we see that data becomes coming from the users in real time and is captured in real time. It can be a body that creates data. But also the last part is with AI, it can start giving feedback of that deep learning. What does that data mean? What is the intention or expectation of the user's data? And this is where you can create the smart automations or the intelligent automation. So looking at this picture, this is the new domain for user experiences. So AI need to be active in your future smart automations and help you work with this evolving type of data. Okay, moving over. So this is, I hope, interesting, and it creates a lot of questions in all businesses. So how is AI relevant to my business? And first you need to actually start exploring the AI landscape and understand actually where we are at the moment. And it is getting really good at the moment. We are seeing the new peaks of achievements with AI. But also you need to engage your business and understand how will AI fit into my business, into my teams. So what is relevant for us? How do we work with this data? What type of solutions can we build using smart automation? And how does it impact the roles that we have in our business? So I would say my advice to you guys when you start approaching AI is that you need to decide early the approach of going into this field. So on one side, you have this kind of development-driven AI, where you have really good specialists building and training your AI. But there is also a low-code driven AI landscape. And today I will talk about that, the low-code side. So there is pros and cons going both directions, but for the low-code, you have a high user-friendly approach. It's built for non-developers, non-coders. It's more or less plug and play, can be integrated with your current automation tools. and you can scale it pretty fast. But in the same time, you don't have as much control, and it only touches the surface. But you can actually start using this tool pretty fast, and so I will show you an example of this here. So the next video, please. So what you see here is actually a low-code AI platform. And what you see is how you can build actually the logic for the AI just by dragging and dropping. And I think you see a similarity with your automations and your customer journeys. But here you connect the data and you train the model to do things for you. But it's still really close to what you are doing in your marketing automation stack today. The only thing is that it's new type of data. It's behavior, it's video, it's information that you have not been able to work with. So looking at this type of platforms, these are moving into the marketing tech stack pretty fast. So I would say start testing this type of services and work close with the platforms and see how you can build and create new type of automations. So this is pretty cool, I think. It's some years ago, you actually needed to build everything from the basis up, but now it's actually pretty easy to do it. All right, I will move on here. So what we see, and I listened to Swedbank before, is that working in your teams, doing this type of automations and the next best action, you need to focus on the collaboration between how AI and your team or humans can collaborate and work together as one team. So what you have done before with automation and real-time processes and insight, that can actually be orchestrated by your AI. It can help you to see the big picture of how everything connects. So this is the new domain, and AI needs to take a place in your team and be active in some of the processes that you've been doing before. So how do you get started in exploring your opportunities? So the first thing, you need to actually capture your data and put in new data and start training your AI with low code or with high-tech development models. And by training your model, you can start building that new type of automations that is fueled by the rules that you're setting up in your AI. And then you can apply that into your existing journeys. And the next best action is one example where the AI actually can drive the decision making, but also giving other people the opportunity to use that recommendations that the AI can drive. But lastly, you need to have that feedback loop. You need to test it. You need to launch and learn and start building that insight when you are applying your AI in your customer journeys. And you need to explore the territory, and you will learn a lot and you will fail a lot. But just by starting working on this way, you will find new capabilities and strength from AI. So it's still the early days for AI, but I believe that you all are interested in finding new ways of improving your customer experience. And I think here is a great opportunity for all businesses to start testing. So lastly, I will skip this picture. I added this picture just to see, to show you guys that there is a lot of capabilities. I will not go into this more, but you will get access to this presentation later. So these are examples of the capabilities, how you can be smarter in your analysis and performance in AI. But there is a lot of things to work on. So I will just leave with this last slide here. So how do you start building that relationship using an AI? So start from the bottom, take the data from the users, be focused on their user profile, what type of data you can capture. Focus on the real-time loop, not only getting the data in real time, but also responding in real time. Secondly, you're in this omni-channel phase now, I know, and you need to be more focused on the context. How do you build knowledge and relationships with an AI in certain contexts? Sometimes it can be the next best action, it can be a dialogue, or it can be a support for your team to work smarter. Then you can go up one level and work on the journey part and the processes and the analysis. And here is often where you are today. You have all this in place when you have come to the high level of marketing automation. But the last part is actually the AI side, it actually can help you to see the big picture and help you to make that smart automation happen. So I hope I have evoked some interest in this field, and I will actually, that was my last slide. So I think there may be some questions. So thank you.
Thank you, Andreas. And yes, we have some questions from the audience, but of course I have some questions first. We had actually another question for Zach, but that we didn't answer, but maybe you can answer it. That was, what is real time?
Yeah. So it's like the real-time loop is actually working in the field directly with the user and responding directly. That the real time is like Counter-Strike. If you play a game, you cannot kind of play on your side in Counter-Strike and send that action to the next player. Everything happens in real time, instant, in the moment. Like a self-driving car, it cannot wait 5 minutes for getting input. It has to work instantly in the moment.
And take decisions from there, from the information coming in. Yeah. Okay, so for me, AI is machine learning, or ML as it's called, I understood. But is that correct, or?
Yeah, it's a big question. AI is a broad toolbox. It contains of many things, but the deep learning is an interesting area that is needed to be in place. But you have computer vision, you have robotics, so it's it's both deep and broad. Okay. But AI is the kind of main name for it.
Okay, good. That was a good explanation. Daniel, we have some questions from the audience.
Yes, we have a question here about competence. What competence do you need to work with these kind of tools? Are they science-based, or can you do it on a business level, like normal employees?
Yeah, good question. And it depends. If you're going to the more low-code level, you need to work with people that are more into the computer science area with data-driven design, and to be able to work with new type of data and to manage that data. But it's the service designers that needs to be more understanding of the capabilities that AI adds to the table. So I think it's a bit of a reskilling. So AI is new for everybody, but yeah, I think data scientists, more programmatic developers that can build automations triggered by AI. So it's a new field, but it's many businesses actually don't have knowledge about these new roles.
Okay, good. Continuing discussions about AI, I assume, for the next year. So thank you very much, Andreas, for being here.
Thank you.